Hello, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and today I've got a fun fold to share with you. It's one I'd created some tweaks to a couple years ago when I went to backstage, and I don't think I did a video with it because it's a little intimidating, but it's using the paper trimmer since we don't have a word window punch or something of the similar size, which is what was used in years past. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera, show you the card, and then we'll jump right into it. So the card is a simple really, fun fold. It's a double slider, so it pops up, and I loved our new birthday celebration bundle. This is out of the mini catalog, the January through April mini, and it's got this cute stamp set, but the die set is probably what's even more cool. And you've got this pocket, some banner dies, lots of numbers, little tassels, a lot of fun die pieces to be able to use and cut. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to kind of step you through. You need a slider mechanism, but we're going to kind of just show through all the different things you're going to need. I'm using the Wildflower Birthday 12 by 12 Designer Series specialty paper. It is not orderable currently. It should be back in stock hopefully by the end of the month, but if not, hopefully it'll be in, because it's a wonderful pack of papers. And then there are all these die cut pieces that come with the paper. I have punched them all out and stuck them in just in a clear sleeve, but beautiful with gold tones and just a neat set of papers. I'm not going to go through all of them. You can see them online. A lot of other people have already gone through piece by piece. I will share with you, though, the measurements in order to make this. So you need a piece that is 11 by 4 1/4. You're going to score it in the middle at 4 1/4. You also want another piece, and this is just to give a little dimension to that pocket. You'll need another piece that is cut at 3 1/8 by 2 3/8. Then you need a piece of Designer Series paper, 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I've done another piece that is 1 inch by 4. We'll trim it down. You'll need a few pieces of basic white. And just so you're aware, basic white, the numbers have changed online. And so if you're one to order using order numbers, then you may need to just go into the online store and select it. And that's because they are changing the quantity that's in the package. And so there's only going to be 24 sheets, just like the rest of our cardstock colors, our solid cardstock colors that are 8.5 by 11. And so there's a new number. But this piece, you're going to want a piece that is 5 inches by 3 1/4. You'll need a piece that is 3 by 2 1/4, and that's in order to die cut out that pocket. And then you need 2 pieces that are 2 inches by 3/4 of an inch, and 1 piece that is 3/4 of an inch by 1 3/4. And then I've chosen to use this cute little birthday cupcake. And then you'll need a 3-inch piece of the Pretty in Pink, or whatever kind of cards or ribbon you'd like to use. This is the Pretty in Pink 3/8 inch bordered ribbon that's in the annual catalog. So let's pull all of this stuff over and we'll just kind of get going. So you're going to start by folding your cardstock in half. So I've already scored it at that 5 1/2. I think I told you 4 1/4, but you scored it 5 1/2. And then often, we're opening cards in this orientation, but we're going to be doing it opposite because that's important with how we're doing our card. Anyway, so before I get going on everything else, I'm going to go ahead and get out my paper trimmer, And I want to trim down 1/4 inch off the top end of this 1 inch strip. And that's just to give me a little more interest. You don't have to do that. You certainly could use it the way it is. If you end up making this card, I would love to see your creations. Feel free to post them on my Facebook page, Just a Little Ink. And somewhere we had a piece of world. I did trim it. Is it stuck underneath somewhere? Oh, I threw it on the floor, of course. So pardon any squeaking and squawking here. Sometimes my chair does a little of that when I move. So I'm going to grab out my multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm going to just put a little bit along the perimeter, not trying to get too close to the edges. And then line it up midway, doesn't have to be in the middle exactly. I'm going to line it up in the mid point. This paper is just so pretty, and I'd been hesitating to use it, but I need to use it. So, and it's, as I said, it's been very popular. There's also some scrapbook kits that coordinate with this suite of products that I believe is also not orderable currently, but hopefully we'll be back in stock soon. Like so, and then because I cut it just a teeny bit longer, I need to pull out my paper snips and trim off just a teeny bit here. All of this is just to kind of get my base the way I want it. You could do it just with a solid piece and not bother with this. And then I'm going to go ahead and choose to just use multi-purpose liquid glue. I'm finding myself using it more all the time as my just adhesive of choice. But you could use whatever adhesive you desire. This is a directional designer series paper, so you do want to make sure that the bottom is at the fold. And get my even reveal around the edges, like so. And then I'm going to step through kind of the process I went through to create that slide mechanism. So I'm going to line up the top of my card at the rail at the top, and then I'm going to push this left edge over to 1 1/4 inches. And on the measurements that are along the side here, where the blade is at, I'm going to line this up at 1 3/8. You don't want it any taller than that. And then I'm going to come down to 3 5/8. So I'm going to scoop beyond here and get down to about 3 5/8, go up a little ways, and then I'm going to leave it where it's at, and then I'm going to come over to 1 5/8, no, 1 3/8. That's that doesn't make sense. Yes, 1 5/8. Let's say 1 3/8 would make no sense. 1 over and 1 5/8. So you get a 3/8 of an inch channel that we're making. Again, at the 1 3/8, I'm going to come down to 3 5/8. Back up and then scoot it over. Let's see, I think I didn't get, looks like we didn't come up as high. Okay. Then I'm going to scoot it over to 3 5/8. No, 2 5/8. My goodness. I have measurements right in front of me too. 1 3/8. You want to make sure to check the description of my YouTube, which is where this will get loaded after this live, because I will have measurements there. Come back down to the 3 5/8, come up, and then my final place I'm going to cut at is 3 inches. And so I'm going to come off that left edge over to the 3-inch mark. Get it lined up just right. And then I want, again, 1 3/8 down to 3 5/8, and then back up. Then it's a matter of turning my cardstock. I'm going to put the top edge at that 1 3/8. Yes, 1 3/8 mark, because that's how far down we went. And I'm going to have the little guide that's on the side of my blade along my cut mark. And you can kind of come a little beyond it and then go back and forth. You should feel it loosen up. Bring it back down and do it at the bottom area here. So you can cut again those 2 areas. And you should feel it. And the nice thing is if you cut through, because I'll show you what I've done here. Mine went a little beyond. You're okay with that because it's not going to matter. I'm going to come up then to the 3 5/8. You're going to cover up all of those marks. So again, I'm going to trim off this little bit that we snipped. I'm going to come again and trim those off. So then we don't need the trimmer at the moment, so we're going to get it out of the way. So you will have trimmed out those little channels. You can keep that and use it for something else, whatever you want to do there. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to stamp the pocket. And I'm going to do some simple stamping with this. I have, I showed you the card here where I did a lot of flowers and other things. I'm going to do it a little more simple. And then I've got a sample later I'll show that is just a little bit of variation. But I'm going to just use the banner and line it up with a block. Get just a little more of an angle. And I'm just going to use the Pretty in Pink ink to kind of just keep it simple. And it also gives you an idea of how you can go simple with this as well. So I'm going to come in here, well, maybe. I think I haven't kept that one as juicy on the underside. Okay, so I'm going to come in and I want to grab, got my banner going this way. I'm going to come and have the banner going the other direction. And then you're going to want to make sure that you let that dry. It's important that it is not juicy. And let me pull a moment. Let's see. What I would often do is take out my heat tool and then just turn it on and let it dry just at the lower setting. You have 2 settings on our heat tool. And with all of that, let me grab my volume just a little higher. So because you want to make sure this is nice and dry. Then it's also important to make sure any ink or finger oils are taken off. And so you want to use a buddy. Those are available in our add-on embossing kit. It comes with a tray, a brush, the tweezers, which are indispensable. So you're going to do all of that. And then I'm going to show here, I lined up on a block the Hooray for Cake. And it's great if you do that ahead of time. You can use one of our grid sheets and line it up exact. Then lay your block down on top of it and it grabs everything the way you want. I'm going to use some Versamark ink. And I'll line up here Just the Hooray for Cake, which I thought was a great one to fit right inside here. The birthday is a little too wide to use Happy Birthday on the front. You could choose to pop it up. So there are the ways. I just didn't opt for those. So then I'm going to grab just a piece of scrap paper. And I've got our metallics, our Wild Metallics embossing powder. Sprinkle it on top. And this is just the poor man's way of doing embossing. And okay, it didn't get quite. Tap that off. You would then heat it. I'm not going to take the time to do all of that. We'll go ahead and just put this back in the bottle. This is something anyone can do. So the little tray is fun, but if you don't want to take the time or the expense of the add-on kit, just using a scrap piece of paper really does work quite well. So make sure I don't have any that around here. I'm going to set this kind of up out of the way because I have already done one, and I had gone ahead and done all the extra flowers and stuff on it as well. So now we can work on the rest of our card. So this is for the inside. This is the slider piece that comes in the back. So it's what's going to pop up in the back side. And so I want to stamp that Make a Wish. And I have my greeting here. So I'll again pull out that Pretty in Pink ink. You could use any of the colors that are on the front of this paper, but I find that I liked the Pretty in Pink. So it coordinates nicely with the pool party. Go here, push this down, hold it for a second so that it adheres into the paper nicely. And then we are ready to kind of just get going. So to do all of this, I told you I have one piece that's shorter than the others. One of these is for the slide. I'm going to get my glue out again and attach the shorter of the two pieces. So again, make sure yep, that's the shorter one. Put just a little, this is a 3/4 of an inch piece, and I'm going to come in just about halfway. So split the difference in between. And this just kind of gave me something that could slide in and out in the center without being too tall. And then I'm going to grab that cute little birthday cupcake, and I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on the center tee and line it up on the front. You see how that works? It just lined up just perfectly so that it's going to hide, but that cupcake will come up and down. And then I want to go ahead and adhere. I told you about a rectangular piece of Pool Party. I'm going to line up with just a perimeter of some multi-purpose liquid glue onto that layer, and it's going to come up, come down. Then I'm going to grab out that paper trimmer one more time just so I can get this piece trimmed off. Lay it down here, and it's a matter of just lining it up to where this is lined parallel to the cutting blade. Like so. Take that little piece off, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Like so. I think I want to come in just a teeny more. I don't like. There we go. So we've got trim. I'm going to trim it up just a teeny bit more because I didn't care for what I did. You could always use scissors, I guess, but like so. Get that out of the way. So now we've got all our parts and our pieces. This is for sliding in the back side. And I pulled out the 1 3/4 inch circle punch. That's in our online exclusives category on the website. And I'm going to come in the center. I use my punches upside down, and I want to snip out just a portion of the top of the front. I'm not going to worry about the back side. I come in just enough. I think I've got about an equal on both sides. Like so. And then I can get ready. So you need some dimensionals, just the full-sized ones. So I'm going to grab my Stampin' dimensionals out. And I've got this last 2 inch by 3/4 inch piece. I'm going to line it up on the back. It's just barely a little bit wider than our channels here. I'm going to flip it over and kind of just hold it. And I'm going to grab a dimensional and stick it so that it's coming in with the point down. And it should be the exact width of our channel. And I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. Then I'm going to pull these off. So it's not attached everywhere yet. And that's when this is going to come on the front. And so what I found is it worked really pretty well if I had these almost exactly the same, because then I know if it comes about to where the top is, then I have lined up really pretty well. So I've got it sitting in there. If I pulled on it, it would slide. Okay. So then I'm going to open it up, and on the inside I need a couple mini glue dots. And I'm going to just tear to where I only have a couple of those here. And I want to put one on one end of this little slider mechanism and one on the other side. Like so. Then I'm going to come here. I want to go ahead and attach my ribbon. What I did is I just folded it over. This is a 3-inch piece of ribbon. Again, I'll have all these measurements listed in the description of the video. I'm going to stick it in the center of this pull, and then I'm just going to use my handheld stapler. Stampin' Up! Used to sell these staplers years ago, and I've kept them because they're just a nice, handy size. And come in just a little ways so that it kind of grabs that. So before I can make sure this is lined as far down as it'll go, I'm going to set it in the top, lining up at the top. If you can see that in the video here. I'm going to make sure I have equal on both sides. And then I'm going to push it, and that's going to attach it to that slider so that it'll come up and down. And it wiggles a little at the moment, but we're fine. Okay, so that part is ready to go. We've got 2 more pieces and then we're ready. I have found you can use tear and tape on the sides, but what I found is I really prefer just using a thin line of our multi-purpose liquid glue. So don't come it too far to the edge or you'll be bleeding it out. But put a nice thin line of multi-purpose liquid glue. It's a nice strong adhesive. And then you can close up the mechanism. Like so. A few seconds and it'll attach. As it is, I'm going to pull it up again. It'll pull. You kind of get your Make-A-Wish and your little cupcake moving back and forth. My sticking on something, I'm not sure what. There we go. So then the other thing I had noted, because I'm going to be using dimensionals to pop up my, my pocket, is I'm just going to grab out my paper snips. And it's best to actually do it after you've gotten this attached here so that you've got a little room. You want to kind of come in and corner these pieces, and that's just so it doesn't interfere with the dimensional at the top. And I found that it doesn't hurt to do the same kind of thing down here at the bottom, and that's just so that just in case you get your pocket put in just a little low, no one's going to ever know because it will have cleared it. So the last place we're going to use dimensionals, we need one on the bottom, and you stick it down here in the center, and you have plenty of clearance for that. And then I found it was best to use some of these pieces along the edge. So you're going to come in and just snip 2 of them. And those are going to come at the top. And so you're going to kind of just angle it up here so that it will pop up and stay over this little pop-up mechanism. But it's a way cute card. So get all those pieces out of the way. So then it's a matter of lining up and getting it just so. So I want to make sure it covers these areas where I've cut. Make sure that that's covered up. I want to be centered, of course. So I've got equal on both sides, and I've covered up my little cupcake. And so then it's a matter of just pulling and lowering. What a cute card. And then you could poke a hole on this end. I found I didn't need that. And then I want to trim up those little tails at the top. And so I'm just going to snip them off with some ribbon type scissors. Those out of the way. And I'll then show you the other card I came up with. Has a simpler front, which I actually really like the simplicity of. Just the banner and the embossed Hooray for Cake. But then I did something fun in here. I'm going to use this one for my great niece when she turns 3 this next year. But all those die cut numbers, I just cut out a 3 from the gold foil and then used this same piece of designer paper to use the larger of the banners. And how fun is that? And then if you want something where you could write a message and you don't want to do it on the back, you could cut a panel and decorate it and then have a place for your happy birthday and all your other greetings, which I think could be kind of fun. So, thanks again for your joining me today. I will be back this next week. I've got a series of 3 projects that I've worked on. I have an in-person class, and I'm excited to share a coordinating bag and card using some 3 different bundles, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope you'll join me again this next Thursday at 2 o'clock Mountain, 1 o'clock Arizona time. And until then, happy stamping.